Awesome. All right. So as we say, as we can start on APIs with InsuredMine, the statutory warning, I would say, viewers discretion advised, which means we're gonna geek out here. And, so this is where, you're welcome, Heather. This is where we're gonna be talking a little bit deeper about what we are using. Yeah, John, right? Not for everybody, but it will be fun to just listen to some of the things, what and why it matters. Usually we try to, I would not use the word dumb it down, because nothing gets that way. It's always about simplifying. Hey, tell a geeky story, a nerdy story in a simple word. And that's how we always look to present things, a system. Why we always say, AMSs are all very complex, whereas InsuredMine are more intuitive, because it is designed to simplify a lot of these technical things, make it to the background and bring the simplicity on the front end. So let me go ahead and share my screen, if I may, Montserrat. All right. So what is an API? I want some of you guys to start typing in the chat. I want to see what kind of context do we get on what is an API. Couple seconds. Anybody want to volunteer? What is an API? As I said, it's too technical. You may not have to come across an API beyond just knowing there are APIs. So API is application programmable interface, which is basically, it allows one system to talk to another system in their language. Now, the beauty of this is it has come a long way in the last 10 years. There you go, Adam. Thank you. Connection between software, between two programs. Right on, JB. You are right on. So the beauty of this is now, as we have come a long way in terms of technology. Earlier, if you guys recall, 10, 15 years ago, on the database, we used to connect systems and call a thing called batch. We will batch upload this, we will batch refresh the data, and that used to happen once a day, at night, overnight, or once a week. So, but that API, all that has changed, and now today we talk about APIs in real time. You make a change here, it reflects on the other system. By the way, I just want you guys to know, this is not my session. Shubham Jaiswal, as several of you know who he is the geek, the nerd in-house at InsuredMine, and I am trying to represent him. I may not do as good as he does, because obviously I am not as technical as he is, but I will try to do my best to represent him. Unfortunately, he got down with fever, and hopefully it's not too bad. But so I said, okay, I'm going to fill in for you. So I'm just trying to give you guys some perspective on why am I talking about APIs? Obviously this is not my best place, but I have spent enough number of hours with this guy in the last 4 years that I have learned a thing or two where I can talk about what these things are and how they operate. Having said that, why it is important in the ecosystem of InsuredMine? Let me give you one data point, just one. Daily, 1 million API calls we are making within the system, internally, externally, all of that. That should tell you how much data we are interacting within InsuredMine in a day basis. So I just read, yep. All right. Open APIs. Yes, I'm going to talk about that as well, John. But let me, pause there, and I want you guys to fathom the magnitude of the data that we are rolling in the system and out of the system, and that is 1 million ping we are making within all these internal and external systems. And that's a lot of data. Now, you also understand that making that 1 million call a day also needs that processing power. And when you're trying to do most of that at a real time, where I'm sure as a customers, you guys do not have that, pardon my being brute about this to say, you do not have the patience to say, okay, because system is going to process so much of data, I'm okay letting it go 3 minutes or 5 minutes slow. You can't even have a patience of 3 seconds. You want it with a blink of an eye. And I don't blame you. That is and what should be the expectation. And that is what we are chasing every day to make it our. So next point, I think that's the right expectation, John. And as I said, our threshold that we work every day is what we call as a 5 milli. Anything which is beyond this palm or number 5 is not acceptable. So we go for a 5 millisecond expectation for data refresh. That is what I want you guys to expect from us, expect from others as well. That is the fast benchmark that we have set for ourselves. Just again, nerding out a little bit further, as I was talking about yesterday in my early session, that how the discussion has to move from data table to updating one data table from SQL to, we are based on a platform which is NoSQL, which means we look at data not in table format. We look at data in the rows and columns format, which means think about that. I'll try to visualize this. It's all data points. It's like a neural network. Everything is connected to everything. So when you are indexing or when you are querying, you are not waiting for that to go through a table and query the table. Okay, line number 465 is what data I need to pull. Everything is so interconnected. It is just the right indexing of the data gets us the data outcome much faster than any table would do. What am I trying to tell you? I'm trying to tell you, we are thinking of the next generation of data structuring. We are talking about architecture, which is designed for tomorrow. None of these systems, I would bet to say that why all of these systems are taking so long to even come closer to what InsuredMine, or there are a few others, I would say, maybe doing it, are trying to accomplish, but several of these legacy systems are not able to catch up because it's not the intent. It is the architecture. Architecture is so monolithic. The architecture is so archaic that it does not enable that kind of, or does not provide that capability where a system can be the way InsuredMine and other systems are designed. So I think it is the design thinking from day zero, using systems which will help us have that cutting edge advantage compared to others for tomorrow, and be able to process so much and be able to set that benchmark for ourselves that allows us to push ourselves to accomplish this kind of 5 millisecond query, 1 million APIs. And I think we are scratching surface with 1 million API call a day. I bet you by next meeting that we are here, I would say it will be 3 times to 4 times. And that's what we're looking at by next year. So heading on to what is actually happening in the process, let's dig deeper. Let me give you this list, what we have. RingCentral, Lightspeed, Nextiva, these are 3 phone systems that is already connected. As you know, data is going back and forth. There is pop-up coming up on the screen if you're using one of these, or even Twilio that we have. Email providers, any email that you have Gmail, you have Outlook, you have any of those, we have solved that problem in a much more complex way. Well, it's a complex problem solved in a simpler way, but it is not easy where you are able to tag into all of these email systems and still able to provide that. So several of these lead providers or the Zapiers, all of this is connected. I want to pause there for a second and also give you one perspective that we have recently developed. When I say recently, probably within the last couple of quarters, after introduction of some of these large accounts. Large accounts mean Simply IOA, as you were listening to them. Confi, as you were, well, they were not in the sessions, but they are one of our large accounts we are rolling out, and several of these other smaller agencies as well. If you are using forms, you are at a cutting edge of how we are leveraging forms and using the APIs to bring the data in. I would advise all of you to revisit your strategy on using forms and reach out to Sneha, Montserrat, and these guys on how you can step up your game with forms. And I know, Montserrat, correct me if I'm wrong, there is a set of form templates that you guys are providing out of this session to everybody. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, it was a surprise, Roshan.
Oh,
but yes.
I was sorry. Go ahead.
I was preparing me to say that later, but yes.
Sorry. Now, since I've said it, spill the beans.
It's okay. So we are going to share some forms, and I'm going to talk about later.
Okay, well, that's all I get, guys. See, this is how I am treated here. All right, but I know that's another big piece of advantage. Several of you are either getting a professional services to get the forms done, or several of this. The biggest advantage, let me, if I can I go and talk a little bit about forms, Montserrat, or is everything is kind of on a...
So the career forms, we are going to share commercial, personal, life, incidents, cancellations, and I think that's it.
Yep, JB, you are right. So why I think it is revolutionary, because so think it this way: we always talk about data, we always talk about clean data, but the problem is with all the data that we want to bring in through forms and everything, it is bound to make your CRM dirty. And when your CRM is dirty, you want to feed that data to your AMS, it will make them dirty as well. So the best way, what we have figured out, is to bring all of data, keep it into your forms, and only pull those data through automation from our APIs, from forms to CRM that is relevant for that moment. So your form becomes another external database for you that you can hold on, and also enables you to run all of these automations around the form. So you can build all of those triggers where you can send this form through email, through text message to those prospects. They are filling in, data is coming in. You are taking only selective data points, putting it into your CRM and automations, and get those running. It's just mind-boggling. Again, there is a lot more coming. I want you guys to start stepping up that game, because that is going to help each of you tremendously, at least in your new business process where you need a lot more communication and data. All right. Left side of the things, as I was talking about APIs, these are some of the other extensions, whether it's about communications through phone systems, email, lead providers, and Zapier. But look into the left side, we talk about all our agency management system. We have built in this last, as it's very humbling to listen to Chip, to Dr. Billy, and we have Chris coming up this afternoon. All of these guys talk about, they have seen InsuredMine grow. They have seen how we started with that nimbleness, and with that now we got that intensity, that speed. We have grown the team. Now we have 50+ employees between US and India, and everything is just moving at a light speed. I just want to punch that in. But why? Because there is that intensity, there is that motivation that we can do way more. So we started with AMS 360, was QQ Catalyst was our first two integrations. Now we have Sagitta, one of the largest agencies in the country. Several of the largest agencies are using Sagitta. We are the only one who has built that CRM integration with Sagitta. Then we got HawkSoft, wonderful platform. A lot of people just love that platform. We have that integrations built. There is a lot more happening in HawkSoft as well as we continue to evolve in that API integrations. Nextshore, Epic epic. We were just on a call earlier today. There is work in progress. There is so much happening or coming through. I was at the conference earlier last week, I think. And it was just mind-boggling how much opportunity exists in terms of InsuredMine's product need for those audience out there. So there's so much happening. We have just started scratching surface and done some PL rater integrations. We are wrapping up turbo rater integrations. We got several of these other raters that we are bringing into the system. So again, overall, I want to give you guys a perspective of what are some of the key heavy integrations. Now, why do I mention only these and not several others? Now, guys, understand, look at this, at least 7 of these agency management systems that I have mentioned here. I can bet you, and you would appreciate this, all 7 agency management systems have very different architecture. Some are account-based, some are very structured, some are contact-based. Now, InsuredMine has to make sure that data, when is fed from those applications, we take it into a data layer where we are synthesizing that data. We call that black box, the integration and transformation layer, where we are normalizing that data at a real-time speed, and then able to consume that data in InsuredMine, do the action that is needed in InsuredMine, feed the data back to that layer, denormalize that data, feed it back to that agency management system, and all of that happening in real time. It's handful to just even say that. Imagine the amount of effort, amount of design thinking, the brain power, now the computing power, all of that is put into action, and that's what we bring to the table. So now that should give you that appreciation of, sometimes if things go a little hairy, you understand you are not dealing with a simple system. There is so much that goes behind the scene to make it look seamless. I'm sure all of you have watched the movie Wizard of Oz. And that, there is no magic. It is all happening, somebody's doing things. And that's the whole idea here. There is no magic. We say it, it looks like a magic, but there is a lot of brain power put into this day in and day out, days, nights, weekends, holidays, festivals, fever, sickness, all of that does not matter. You saw Kiara being here, after 12 hours of baby delivery, Shubham being sick, attending call in the morning. Half of the India team, works until 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. because everybody's just passionate to deliver a much higher experience to you guys. And that's what we all are committed, and that's what we are delivering. So just wanted to come back and give you guys that nerdiness of what goes behind the scene of building systems like this, and how this whole API is working with, building those internal APIs integration with the agency management system, and that within that, onboarding, feeding all the data, two-way data syncing every activities that you are doing. So all of that, and then relaying that with all of these other third-party integrations, as we talk about all of this, and then feeding into the raters as we talk about all of that. And then, as I talked about the form thing, rolling it to the form, creating deal card, feeding it to InsuredMine to AMS, and all of that. So this should give you guys some clarity of what it takes to run a show like this, where it looks very smooth, but occasionally few things go a little south. And when things go south, we are the first one to jump on it, ask us the question, tell us what we can do. And we could not have built a system like this without your help. So continue giving us the feedback. We are still in our early days. There is a lot more to happen, but at the pace we are growing, that early will not be early enough. So with that, I will pause my presentation here. Back to you, Montserrat. Any questions? I'm happy to take.